This is Jamie from Concert Addicts. Recent over the past week, we got together with Ryan Gullen and Sam Corbett of the Canadian rock band The Sheepdogs. They were in town at the Music Heals Gala over at the Commodore Ballroom, and we sat down and had a quick chat with them. And here it is. Well, my first question was to be what the heck you guys doing in Vancouver? But you guys are at the Music Heals thing tonight.
Yeah.
I think surprise guest, maybe not announced yet.
I didn't realize that, but then when I got here, someone was like,
"Oh, yeah."
So I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's a bit."
Yeah, because I was looking around, I couldn't find anything, and then I was like, maybe it's the Music Heal because they have a secret or not announced headliner every year. So.
And that's us? Oh, I didn't realize.
Or
that's you guys.
Artist.
Surprise.
It's a surprise to you and a surprise to everybody else.
We just go and wherever they tell us.
I thought you guys were coming here to enjoy some of our rain. But...
Yeah, take it in.
Yeah. And then you guys were rehearsing. It sounded like some Tom Petty. This won't come out today, so if
it's fine. Yeah, no, we're gonna do a Petty song tonight. So
that's pretty sweet.
Yeah,
a little tribute to, the dearly departed.
Yeah,
this kind of sucks a lot. Yeah. I imagine he was an influence on you guys.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to see him at Bonnaroo.
Oh,
we played there in 2013.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's a crazy dude because he's one of the few guys that could put out music in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even 2000s. And they all were somehow relevant.
It was
time. There was no he was good during this time. He just kind of kept doing it, which is pretty remarkable. You can't really think of any guys like that kind of were able to do that as consistently as did. And it wasn't him trying to sound like a modern band. It was just him sounding like himself, and it worked.
Totally almost effortless. He just did what he did, and then everybody accepted it. He was never trying to change himself. I think that's one of the things everybody kind of loved about him. He just did what he did, and that's who he was.
Yeah, exactly.
And he came from a lot. He had a pretty troubled past, so to see that's pretty crazy.
For sure.
So you guys have a new album coming out.
Yeah.
Changing Colors.
Mm-hmm.
Comes out in February-ish. February 2nd. February 2nd. Got to make sure that. So where was that recorded?
We recorded in Toronto.
Okay.
We did it over an 8-month period.
Oh.
Which is a little bit different. Previous records we've done in a very short period of time, but this one we kind of started, and then we kind of walked away. We took some time away from it, came back, and kind of worked on it over time, which is a little bit different than we've normally done. But it was cool because it allowed us opportunities to bring in, later maybe some newer songs that we had, and then come back to songs, revisit songs, try new things, add new things, different vibes to them and stuff like that. So it kind of was a new experience for us, being afforded the time to kind of spend some time working on it versus kind of everything we've done has been
do it
2 to 3
go.
weeks.
Yeah, just do it and go. What's on your mind?
Exactly.
Yeah, do you find that process of extending it out kind of changed how the album turned out in your eyes, compared to previous albums? Having that more time to sort of come back, rethink songs, rethink how they're put together?
I think a little bit. I think being able to walk away and have some time with some things is a nice thing. There's one song on the record that we started recording as one thing. Wasn't really figuring out how it was going to work. Came back, decided to try a completely different groove. We went all in together, played it together, and it turned out to be a song that we all really, really like. And it was just one of those things that had we not been afforded that time, that song would have just never been on the record.
Just never made it. And
some of that stuff is cool, and an opportunity to take things home, listen, think of ideas, and as well as just to have the the ability to go in and not feel like every moment that you're in there you need to be oh fuck, we need to get all these things done. It was nice to be able to kind of do shorter days and not be going 14 plus hours a day just trying to get as much done as you can. So.
I couldn't imagine. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Just kind of almost let the answer come to you instead of pushing it, instead of pushing the envelope a little bit.
For sure, yeah. It was great.
Nice. So you guys have a new single. I've got a whole Where My Heart Should Be.
Mm-hmm.
From the sound of the song, it's pretty. It feels upbeat, but obviously the lyrics are a little bit more not quite as happy. Is that on purpose, or is that just how it came to be, or was there,
I don't know.
It's we obviously we didn't, right?
No, I know, but how do you
I don't think
I
it was
think that Ewan probably feels sometimes probably everybody does. He has a hole where his heart is.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He has a heart.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
I think he probably just came up with the riff first and then tried to figure out some words that went along with it,
and it just fit together.
And sometimes the meaning comes later. Sometimes it's not originally apparent when you stumble across the lyrics. I think.
Nice. Yeah, I figured.
I'm sure a lot of Petty songs were like that.
Yeah. They came. There's some differences with why they're sort of placed like that. So I've read a number of things comparing you guys, obviously, like Led Zeppelin, all sorts of different bands. I think the closest thing that I've thought of is the Guess Who. There's always been a really tight sort of comparison in my mind to you and them.
Sure.
Have they been a huge influence, obviously, in your guys' music playing and your love for music throughout the years as Canadians and them being Canadians?
I think, and also them being Western Canadians.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a conscious thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's something like growing up in the prairies and being familiar with their music and hearing their music and it being a Western thing. I think definitely influences that. I think we draw a lot of influences from a lot of different places, and it's not like you don't sit down and be like, let's sound exactly like this
is
thing.
who, yeah.
I think
yeah.
so much of what we talk about, like forming a sound, comes from absorbing different things, and we all listen to different types of music too. It's not just like like I said, we don't just sit down and be like, we want to sound exactly like this thing. So I think all those things kind of play into how it is. I mean, there's some of those Guess Who records are just so badass, and it's just such a cool thing to be like a band from Winnipeg. Because growing up in Saskatchewan, you kind of feel like you're disconnected from the rest of Canada.
Yeah. They were, Winnipeg's not very far, and they had a #1 hit in America. Right?
Yeah,
so,
and that was unheard of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think both sides, like the A and the B of that album, were hits. Like I can't remember which one it was, but the first one came out, just blew it away. And then, Bachman's such a underrated singer. People don't talk about him very much that way. But
or Burton, you mean?
Oh, sorry.
Burton.
Yeah.
Sorry, Burton Cummings.
Yeah,
I just looked right down and I was like, oh, sorry. So Burton Cummings, like These Eyes and songs like that, like just.
He's a great singer. They have awesome guitar tones, and they have awesome songs, right? So
powerful.
We'll take a comparison to them.
Yeah, like I mean, just there's. It's probably just because as a Canadian, I've grown up listening to them, and then to hear you guys, it's like the next generation. Obviously, new. It's coming from all different influences. But
for sure. No, it definitely does play into that. It's something that definitely been to look up to.
Yeah, because I always wondered, like, well, maybe they came as like they were Guess Who cover band at some point. There's always sometimes there's a band where
we
just
some Guess Who songs we played like.
Oh really?
Yeah, Share the Lands.
Nice.
Hand Me Down World.
Nice.
Running back to Saskatoon.
Yeah. Oh, Saskatoon. That's where you guys are from, Saskatoon.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Saskatoon.
That one kills.
People just lose their minds, I imagine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like sort of pandering to the crowd, but without having to just throw their name in there for no reason. Because
maybe we can do it a little bit more legit.
Yeah.
Often found ourselves
we were actually
running back to Saskatoon. And then running right back out again.
That's awesome. I've got just 2 more questions for you guys. So, are there any lesser known or underappreciated artists that you guys draw inspiration from or think people should be checking out? It doesn't have to be singers, musicians, or it could be painters or writers or anything, but people you're sort of getting inspired from that you're like, why aren't more people checking these people out?
I think with this record, obviously we're going to have a lot of straight up rock songs, we always will, but there's a lot more influence coming from country music and Latin music.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you want to talk about amazing musicians that are completely unheralded and underrated, like both those albums are absolutely filled with amazing, vocalists, musicians, songwriters, and stuff. So I would go on and on.
Yeah, just country, unheralded.
I mean,
and
listen to like a lot of like.
Yeah,
George Jones and Willie Nelson.
Nice.
Willie Nelson's always very popular, but still I think underrated.
Yeah. People take him for granted. Like the amount of music he's put out over his lifetime, it's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or like, for example, like a record we all really like is that Michael Nesmith from the Monkees has like a country record that he put out, and that's a fucking cool record that a lot of people would know about. But that would be something that he was never really known for that, but in that world, it's like
that's a perfect example because it's not like people haven't heard of it. People would think like Michael Nesmith.
Yeah, they'll
like an ad from the Monkees. Why would I listen to that?
There's another record. What's his name? Splish Splash Bud there.
Oh, Bobby Darin.
Bobby Darin has a country record. Bobby Darin in like late '60s moved to Big Sur and just started smoking pot, and he put out this record called what's it called? It's kind of hard to find, but it's on iTunes, like some of the songs from it. Okay. It's just like him doing kind of country vibe stuff. Like Bobby Darin, again, who you would know for like Splish Splash and stuff. And he has this, it's about him, like there's one song about like him trying to buy hash off like an undercover cop. Jeez. And like it's really cool. So it's like there's stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely like Michael Nesmith record.
That's very cool. I think that's
it's definitely a good era to be able to check out that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, compared to when we first started the band, you could kind of hear what was on the radio, and I guess Napster or something. But
Yeah. Oh,
now
Napster.
with Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that,
It's
you
easy
can
to go
really,
find.
Yes, you can really search out, you know, albums you never would have been able to find by
Super
artists you like,
yeah.
or you can search out stuff, you know, just by somebody tells you something, you can look it up the next day. It's great.
It's one of the amazing things of having music on demand is that you can just find stuff that you would never heard of, and to you it's brand new.
We hear about people finding out about us that way too.
Oh yeah.
Say like I heard about you guys through a Spotify playlist or something like that.
Yeah, and it has that feature where it'll just keep adding songs.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you're like, who am I listening to? And it's a band that's 80 years old, and you're like, oh, I really like these guys. It's
I
crazy.
was gonna look up what the name of that Michael Nesmith record was. What is it called? Magnetic South.
Magnetic South.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to check that out for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a good one.
That sounds pretty badass. So I have one last question.
Sure.
As long or as short as you want, what does music mean to you? Some people go one-word answer. Some people go brief thesis of their life.
I don't know how to answer that, what it means to me, but the thing I like the most about it is that you can always learn more about it.
Okay.
So you can either learn how to play a different instrument, how to play your instrument better, you can learn more music.
It just keeps going. It's never
more
ending.
albums, you can learn more about anything. You know?
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about music is it's one of few things that kind of transcends all cultures. You know, it's existed since
Forever. Yeah.
Forever, and it's something that has always brought people together. And there's different types of music and different things that people like, but it is one of those things within humanity that it's always always been brought together. It's been used for good, it's been used for bad things, it's been used for like communication. But I think it's just one of those things that you know has always and will always exist, and it will always evolve. And I think it's just again one of the few things. So for us, it's something that we can do and bring people together, and it can be something that it brings us together as individuals to create something, and then allows us to bring people together to appreciate it and to connect with those people. But it's also something that we, like every person as an individual, can
identify uniquely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's it's unlike most things. There's not really. I mean, some people will be like, I don't really like music, but in some way or another,
it's in you.
It is.
Yeah.
And that's
food
what
maybe would be something, I don't know. But
I mean, food you need to live. So it's one of those things that is not.
Music you get to experience. You don't have to experience it.
It's just something that it's always been there.
Yeah.
Seemingly, like I don't know enough about like what like cavemen were up to, but there's
probably beating on something.
There's guttural like it's like communication at one point was like basically like guttural, and that in some ways is a form of like frequency and
it's talking music. Sometimes without words. It's your emotions or whatever.
So on both levels.
That's perfect. Both answers. It fits perfectly. And that's all I have for you guys.
Great.
Well, that was Ryan Gullen and Sam Corbett of the Canadian rock band The Sheepdogs. We'd like to thank them for their time, and thank you for listening.